Woo! What it do, what it do, what it do. What a day! Salute everybody. We got Kinsey and Red, Lewis Koya, A.L. Evans, Dre. What's up, bros? Ah, man. Ah. You know when you get that first good stretch? Ah. Gotta get some shit off my chest. No better day to do it than the Friday. Getting that shit off your chest. Oh, yeah. What's up, Mel? I'm going to let you know this. I'm going to say some shit. Give me 1 second. I'm back, folks. Got a little things off my chest I got to speak on. Quite a few. And it stems from the last live stream, believe it or not. I know part of it. I know myself, Lewis, and Bay talked about it. And a lot of this shit comes from ignorance. There's two forms of ignorance. Well, just one, really. Mine better now? Good. But let's talk about this ignorant shit. Alright. One of the biggest things I got to take away from that classic live stream about the police involved shooting with the Black Airman is that a lot of people are super emotional. And instead of saying, hey, here I am to give you the facts may not always be pretty, but I'm going to give them to you. You don't get a lot of appreciation for that shit. What you get is a bunch of fluff, a bunch of people who just want to argue with you. A lot of people hate the experts. I'll tell you that much now. Absolutely hate the experts. You are the type of motherfuckers that will go to your doctor and they will tell you need this type of medication, you need this type of result. You will argue with them. He's in the business of prolonging your life. But you have this natural advertisement against truth. You're just adverse against the truth. Think about this, right? And I'm going to do more live streams of police, interactions with the public, since so many people asked that. You're right, LAPD SWAT 1. 1 + 1 = 7. And unfortunately, we get a lot of individuals who think they're smarter than what the game produces. There's a lot of this shit. Well, let's take a vote on it. If you want me to do more police reaction videos and live streams, give me a woo in the chat. If not, say hell nah to the nah. So let's take a vote on it. If you want more of that, give me more. Give me some woos. If not, just say hell nah. Because I think that red pill, black pill perspective of police interactions would actually help people and may even help you or anybody you know how to conduct yourself. Number one, I own guns, several guns with a Z. My godson has a gun. His friends have guns. The first goddamn thing I would tell them to do when interacting with the police, if you're working, keep your gun holstered. If you're home, do not walk to the door with a gun. If you think there's somebody who's trying to do a home invasion or kicking the door, don't answer the door. If you can, barricade yourself, if anything, and or get a point of advantage where if they do kick in, you have cover, which is the difference. Should I explain to y'all the difference between cover and concealment? Should I do a difference between the cover? Should I tell you the cover and concealment differences? All right. For those of you who don't know it, difference between cover and concealment. Cover, I cannot see you. Concealment, I cannot see you. Think of like hiding behind a couch or a curtain. Yeah, that's concealment. Cannot see my presence. Cover is can take a bullet, like an engine block or a brick wall, stuff like that. So One, if I gotta tell young black men once again, think, think, think. Your job is to survive. Your job is not to argue with anybody. Your job is not to see how right you can be, tell off people. Your job is to survive. Audit the audit seems to present a pretty balanced commentary, but the police officer's perspective would be better. That's cool. Let's look at some shit, right? One, too many young men, and I'm gonna break this shit down in a very crazy spot. It's nice to have young men in the military, but have you ever noticed you never seen a father in any of the videos? Which would have been important because just because you can legally own a firearm, you still have to be responsible with that firearm. You can't just put a cop in a situation get mad with that cop and not expect him to act. So, when we have these situations, oh, possibly. I wouldn't mind doing it. What time you getting up in the morning? Uh, so I could do it. I think that a lot of times we get we have a level of ignorance in the black community, either because we just don't know or we just don't want to learn. If I do stuff like that, I'm gonna trust me. I'm not gonna be like everybody else. Everybody has their own definition. Everybody has their own way of going about things. I think it's actually funny how you had so many detractors, which I expected, by the way, to try to say things during the live stream about the shooting. But I'm like, dude, you're being emotional. Let's be logical. How smart is that to put a uniform officer bring a gun to the door? He doesn't know you. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that tactics are not what you do with the firearm. It's basically what you do to stay alive. Because if there's a domestic incident and you come to investigate and there's nobody there but him, even though most jurisdictions, I don't know about this jurisdiction's rules, but I know in the BPD, you need two officers for domestics automatically because they're that crazy. And what happens is you never know what can be about it. If Homeboy really thought there was a home invasion, don't answer the door. I know it's Monday morning quarterbacking. Hold on, fellas. I'm back, folks. Michael Johnson said, I think that's the logic that's missing from the conversation. I think both the officer and the airman are lacking proper tactical training and awareness that caused this. Believe it or not, I don't think the officer did anything wrong. He knocked on the door. He announced himself. He did what he was supposed to do. What tactical training could he do? Where was the officer wrong? I question anybody. If the gun's pointed at if the gun's that close from that distance, what the fuck could you do? If anything, if you really want to be noticing, the officer was at a severe disadvantage. Very severe. And I think that a lot of people, still to this day, don't understand that. Because tactically, he did what he was supposed to do. Am I a fan? Do I think it's tragic? Sure. I don't think that the common sense for the young airman was being put on display. Now, you got to think about modern policing. Most cops are going to be scrutinized on every little thing they do. And there's no such thing as ever seeing yourself in their light or their shoes. Well, when he opened the door, you got to think he's trying to engage the talk and do an investigation. So I understand, like I said on the live stream, the fatal funnel. Going through his head, he's thinking, oh, well, they finally answered the door. Let me talk to him. Let me investigate, see what's going on. If anything's going on, next thing you know, you see a gun. Even if he was outside the fatal funnel, you got to remember they were 6 feet apart. There's no tactics. There's no tactics that you can do from that distance that would have gave you an advantage. There's no talking anybody down if they have ill will. It's a tragic situation, hell yeah. Not gonna bullshit you. I'm not gonna bullshit you there. A lot of young men I've noticed grow up with a lot of this tombstone courage. I'm not saying that's what exactly happened in this case. But at the same time, we got to be very careful of the situations that we're in and we're putting ourselves in. You're right. He wants to make it home. I don't know what your intentions are. You may be the nicest guy in the world. What happened to the video Dr. T showed the other day with that one guy who found out his wife cheated on him? Oh yeah, that's a cool ass picture of Brave Star. Every time I hear these chicks talk about we're safer with the bear, I just call for the strength of the bear. Excuse me once again, got to talk to my son real quick. I'm back, folks. You got to remember that tactically, the number one tactic above all is to stay alive. And these young boys are not being reared in manly arts. And not, I think that a lot of these situations could have been avoided by one, access, accessing the situation, taking a accountability and what's going on, going through your steps of saying, hey, and unfortunately he lost his life, which is never cool. Nobody's gonna ever say, well, we want this person dead. No. One of the most horrific times in a police officer's life is a police involved shooting. And the only other time I could think of that's probably even more traumatic to police officers is when one of their colleagues or themselves are shot. See, a lot of people get this misinformation of thinking that, oh, you're going to get this reward. You're going to get, no. Especially in this day and time, you don't know if you're going to lose your job. You're going to be second guessed. You might even go through nightmares, day terrors, um, anxiety. You're going to go through this whole situation recurring in your head over and over and over. And that officer has to live with those actions, right, wrong, or indifferent, even if it's like defense of your life. A lot of people can't take that. A lot of people can't take that. That's why you see a lot of cops go to drinking, drugs, and other shit. It's a very stressful job, just like you see soldiers, EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, armed security, even unarmed security go through traumatic moments. You never know what that traumatic moment may carry into. There's times you may go through some shit. There's the link if anybody wants to join or have any questions or like to give a statement, or even if you're a detractor, you think everything I say is bullshit. Um, there's a lot of people, and I understand that you got a lot of naysayers and ne'er do wells and jackasses on the internet. But I really think that when certain guys come up or say things in the chat, and I don't think I don't read the chat. When one guy tried to say, "Is this Brandon Tatum guy?" which I thought was funny. Oh shit! Ladies and gentlemen, AV Media. I actually looked at that chat, and one guy compared me to Brandon Tatum. Which I thought was funny. I'm like, when does Brandon Tatum come to the manosphere? Black manosphere at that. Sadly, people who look like us have removed the humanity from officers and ceased. Well, let me start over. Sadly, people who look like us have removed the humanity from officers and, in most cases, assuming the worst. Thus, they think instead of having PTSD, getting off their rocks. Yeah, you got to remember 99% of the time when officers are called to a scene, it's traumatic. What's actually funny, I actually seen the gold toilets. I've actually seen that. And what's scary about it is that you have to be a sick individual to enjoy taking a life. Not because you had to. Not because you had to. It's because, one, you think it's some type of badge of honor, some type of goal. There are times when you're on a call, you have a sister, a brother, a niece, a nephew, a son who is the age of the suspect or person you're involved with. You know, you try to humanize everybody. There are some people who are going to be assholes, both cops and both citizenry. But that should never outweigh your view that people innately want to do good. Should never. But to literally be in this space for almost a decade, and somebody compare me to Brandon Tatum, I was like, wow, you're ignorant. So what's up with you, AB? Hold on, folks. Hold on.
So I'll be back in a minute. Must have been an important call. Hope everybody doing all right tonight.
What's up? What's up, AB?
Hey, what's
Oh,
going
yeah.
on, Charles?
Definitely. We're going to talk about that shit. Fuck yeah. I'm going to call him back and tell him Monday. All right. And let them know on the group chat, too. All right. All right.
Talk about what?
Oh, yeah. Blackline Security is going to get, a security company dropped the ball on a supermarket, chain of supermarkets, and Blackline Security is going to have a meeting Monday with that chain of supermarkets.
Oh, okay. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I don't know if you got the chance to see. Did you get to see the infamous video that's been out now about Diddy?
No.
Apparently, well, it's not apparent anymore. They got him on tape beating the crap out of Cassie.
Hmm.
It's pretty bad. He's stomping on her head and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, kind of dudes they like, man. Kind of dudes they like.
Oh well.
Unfortunately,
I never liked Diddy to begin with, so I'm kind of indifferent to it.
I've been around this block for so long, man, that why now? If he was a
Mm-hmm.
broken nigga, would she say anything about it?
What's up,
Nope.
everybody?
What's up, Andrew?
What's good?
Why now? And how long ago was this video?
2016, so about
8 years ago.
about 8 years ago. Yeah.
If you worried about the ass whooping you took 8 years ago, what's the point now?
Unless they're traumatized by it.
Here's my thing. This is the reason why I'm not making light of her situation, not making light of her abuse. But shit like this puts a bad taste in my mouth about domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, why didn't we talk about this shit prior to this? Why didn't we do it when it first occurred?
All I know is Diddy. I blame him for as one of the main culprits for destroying rap music, the genre that I love. And I've always thought he was a scumbag and a slime ball who cheated people out of money because he's a selfish prick. So
Oh, he's a
he's going to eat
narcissist.
this, and I'm not defending him. I'm not going to take up for him.
Oh,
Screw
no,
him.
no.
No, I understand what Charles said. I don't think Charles is taking up for him, but why'd you wait so long? Is what he said.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people forgot last November was the deadline for people to file, court cases against, things that took place, all years back. So a lot of court cases were being filed against a lot of celebrities for shit that allegedly happened 30, 40 years ago.
Hey, I'm just gonna cut in. No, I'll never get a word in edgewise. I'm just gonna cut in. What do you brothers think about this Alex Ye situation? Because I don't think it's being talked about enough. You know what I speak of?
No.
Alex Ye is a Asian American, I think Chinese descent, out of the DMV area, and he threatened to shoot up a school, but they called him before he did it. And Torian Rain did a 7-8 minute video on it earlier. It's not, in my opinion, it's not being spoken on enough. That was a black dude, even a white dude. They'd have been all over the place with it. I had to hear from Torian Rain. So I'm asking you, brothers, what is your opinion? What's with this model minority shit? What's going on? Thoughts?
I don't know what the model minority thing. What's his stick?
Wait, say it again? Say it again?
What's the stick about this guy? Like, why is he a model minority?
What's a model minority? Charles, you messing with me. You know.
I said, I know what they're talking about, but what's his stick? Why is he so pertinent?
Well, he's not pertinent. What I'm saying is,
why is it so pertinent?
Not being spoken on enough. I'm barely hearing about it. It's not on CNN. It's not on Fox. I had to hear from Torian. If it had been one of us, it'd have been all over the place.
That's how the ball rolls, man. That's how the ball rolls.
Come on, fellas, thoughts. They'd have been all over us for threatening to shoot up a school. Come on.
I haven't heard about it, so you're gonna have to put an article or something in it because
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. You haven't heard about it, man. No. I'm not. No disrespect towards you, Charles, or name none of you guys. You guys haven't heard of it.
No.
Are you that frustrated?
So in other words, what did he do? What exactly did he do? Because we're trying to get the gist.
He threatened to shoot up a school. He wrote a 160-page manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
He did. You can look this up now. You can go online and look it up now.
Sound like
160-page manifesto. And he threatened to shoot up a school in the DMV area, which Charles is in. And you haven't heard about it?
No.
Wow. Okay. All right. Damn. But look, fellas, I'm not going to stay up here long. Just so you know, it's Friday. I've been drinking. I don't mean to sound like a dumbass. I really don't. I'm usually a regular I'm a semi-regular on Roger's channel, Roger Report Live.
Yeah, I know who you are.
Yeah. Oh, okay. My bad. Okay, my man. That's my dude. I love Roger. I love you too. But you know, Roger, you know, he's from Chicago. That's my man. I'm in Chicago. But
So
I think he's
when's
gonna
it?
do. I think he's gonna do a show on this in a couple of days. Go ahead, Charles. I'm sorry.
When
Okay.
did this occur?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
get
hold
what you're
up.
saying, brother, but we
Like
just
when did
not
it
hearing about it.
happen?
Day before yesterday. No, mate. My bad. April 19th. April 19th, 2024. We're just now hearing about it.
Has he
Wow.
been arraigned?
I think he has been convicted of conspiracy. Yeah. Yes, he has. He didn't do. No, he didn't do
Gotcha.
anything. He didn't pull any triggers. He didn't kill any kids, but he threatened to. And he wrote a 160-page manifesto. And we're just now hearing about it. Oh, you got to be kidding me, man! If that had been one of us, we'd have been put out there. And again, if that had been a white man, because of their reputation for doing that, it would have been put out there. I'm not defending white men by no means. I'm just saying, if it had been a white guy, man, it'd have been out there. You know,
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
Well,
maybe I'm
Asians
ranting.
are trying to.
Maybe I'm venting.
I'm gonna keep
No,
it
you're
drinking,
not.
fam.
You're not wrong.
Well,
Well, probably.
Asians for the longest time have been trying to say how oppressed they were, but they never talk about the oppression they commit in the black community.
As
Mm,
far as what businesses,
Yeah. You
businesses they
open up.
own.
in businesses.
Well, let's talk about their businesses. Let's talk about what goes on in the back rooms of a lot of these businesses.
Okay, let's go.
Charles and I are from Baltimore. Charles can vouch for what I'm going to say. There's a lot of these Asian businesses that's involved in the drug game.
Oh yeah.
This is facts. This is what I know for a fact.
Wow.
From
And
fucking
how
Trinidad
do
to
they?
fucking Yakuza.
How do they? I'm not saying I don't believe you. How do they compete in a drug game in the hood?
They suppliers.
They're suppliers. When think about it, when you buy your little dime bag of weed, where
Hmm.
does that actual bag come from?
I
When the
thought it.
crack dealer puts the crack in the 1515 vial, where does
Yeah.
that actual plastic vial come from? Where does it come from? Where does he get it from?
So not the crack itself, but the vial is what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Because the crack comes from Latin American places.
Where does the actual vial come from?
Tool. You mean the tool? Oh, okay. You know, is this angry black man?
Yeah.
Okay, I never thought about that. Thank you, brother. You know, I
Well,
never
then you
thought
gotta
about that.
remember. You gotta remember about the East. The East is some of the biggest opiate trades in the fucking planet.
Okay.
People forget that shit.
I don't forget it. Do you know how many times I've been in a liquor store or I've been in a sub shop somewhere in this town and some dude walks in with a brown paper bag and throws it up there on the counter and mama grabs that bag real quick.
And walk the fuck off.
Hmm.
Come on, man. I can take you to these places personally, man. I mean, come on, man.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's not a secret.
It's not a
I'm all
secret that they're allowed to do shit. They're allowed to get away with shit that black regular businesses could never do.
This is what pisses me off when I hear people talk this tough on crime shit. Because tough on crime only goes as far as Tyrone and Raheem out on the corner.
Yeah.
Never goes any further.
Doesn't go
It's
any
never
further.
corporate.
Yeah. I know what
It's
you
never
mean.
corporate
Yeah.
America. It's never white boys. Because guess
Yeah.
what? You could go to the old Loyola and I could find more drugs in that fucking college than I could on fucking Glenville to York Road.
You brothers do understand we're not the ones flying that shit overseas. We're not the ones smuggling that shit. Now we're the face. Black men, young black men especially, are the face of crack cocaine, heroin, because that's big in Chicago, man. I'm on the southwest side of Chicago. It's big. We are the face of that shit, but we don't run that shit up in here. We don't. We
Yonkers
don't have no
bringing it in.
fields. You know, we you know, some of us might cook it up, but we're not. You know, we're not running that shit up in here. You never hear about that shit.
What
It's all about
facilities do
it's
we
all about
have?
the black guys selling it on the corner.
Where can black people produce opium?
Nowhere. Nowhere. Not even in Africa.
But guess what? I could go to
I hear you.
Afghanistan, and I could go to fucking East Asia. You know, Far East Asia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Far East, Turkey, parts of Pakistan for that matter.
Pakistan.
Iran has been hit hard by opium. You think
I hear you guys, but look, where I'm at, they don't do opium. It's crack and it's heroin. That's all they do over where I'm at. That's all they do. Man, man, Charles, I'll be walking up the street, going to the liquor store because I like to drink, just like you. I like to. I'm not dissing you. I'm just saying. I'm going to the liquor store and I see some nigga. I see some nigga doing a dope fiend lean. I'm like, that's heroin. And then I'll look across the street and I can tell the dude that's off of crack. Because he's going loo 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 loo. Because crack is a psychological drug. Heroin is a body high. So they're leaning over. And check this out. They never fall. I've never seen nobody fall in the street. But they lean
Yeah,
it.
you remember
We call it the dope fiend lean. He all up
Bang.
against the wall. I'm like, damn.
Bang.
Maybe I need to get the fuck up out of here, man. I need to get the fuck up out of here, man. Hey, go ahead, bro.
Do you remember Eddie Griffin had a comedy special called Dysfunctional Family?
Wait, who?
Eddie Griffin. When he came home,
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
He had a comedy special called Dysfunctional Family where he was back home in Kansas City.
Yeah.
In that, he talked about how he watched his Uncle Bucky, his favorite uncle, who was a former pimp, gangster, who was also fucking with the heroin, shoot up. And he talked about how it was ridiculous how those motherfuckers had an insane balance. They would just lean and everything. A drunk would just fall on the ground and look at the ground like it's their fault.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, you know, heroin is fucked up. I met some former heroin addicts. There's one person I know, real good woman. She's been off heroin. She's got herself off heroin like for about 20 years. Yeah. And she'll tell you, it's not fun. I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman, the actor.
It's hard to get off of. It's very hard. Especially when you're mainlining. Y'all know what that means? Mainlining?
Please explain.
Don't you? It's shooting up. It's impossible off that shit when you're putting a needle in your arm. It's impossible. You have a chance.
Me and ABM, we're from Baltimore. They literally made a show about this. You gotta think about it, right? You know who the face
who made a show about it?
The Wire. And you
gotta remember the Wire. Oh yeah. I saw the Wire.
You gotta think about it. You gotta think about this, right? Yeah. You gotta think about this. Who's the face of fentanyl? Who's the face of fentanyl? Because not a lot of black people use fentanyl willingly. Not a lot. There's some who use it. But why do you think they're not going to put that white boy and that white girl out there as the face of fentanyl?
Nope, they don't do it. Nope, they show them on the news media. They show them as victims. They don't show them as the perpetrators of it, of the selling of it. They don't do that. They're always victims. Why is that?
Because what type of country are we in? Are we in a white majority country?
Absolutely.
That's why. If you keep
Oh,
making the black man the face of crime, that's what you can do. You can justify certain treatment and action towards them, right?
yeah. What's the term? What's the phrase? The complexion for the protection. Is that how it goes?
Oh no, brother, you got it wrong. You got it wrong. I think you
I got
should
it
say
wrong. Tell me
you
why I
got
got it wrong.
you mean they got the right complexion for the collection and protection.
Oh,
Thank
okay. I
you.
missed the word. Okay.
The right.
No, I
Thank
got you.
you. Yeah, like I said, thank you, the Godfather comedy, Paul Mooney, for that one.
Yeah. R.I.P. By the way. Yeah.
You got to
That
remember
nigga was not playing.
that
And that brother was not playing around. Oh no,
if
he
you
knew
No,
if
he
how to
wasn't
do
messing
work.
around. No. They say there's a bit of seriousness to every joke. That was Paul Mooney. He was serious. Every time he cracked a joke, he was being funny. You laughed. I laughed. But he was serious at the same time. I miss that brother, man. He wrote for Richard Pryor.
I went to
You know,
go see Paul Mooney twice. Best thing I ever did.
I'm gonna tell. Wait. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I gotta stop y'all right now. I know we all miss him, but we should be also glad. But like Charles always likes to quote General George Patton Jr. We should be glad where he says, don't mourn the losses of these men. Pray to God, thank God that such men existed. Meaning, first of all, if you know the story about Paul Mooney's final years of life,
yeah,
Paul Mooney was suffering from dementia. He had the early signs of dementia.
yeah.
So it's better that he went out the way he did. He passed away before that shit took over. You know what I'm saying? Because we know some people got Alzheimer's, dementia and shit, and that shit kills them before it kills their soul.
Alzheimer's and dementia are directly related. And I'm looking at you know what, Neymar, I'm glad you said that, Neymar.
Mm-hmm.
Because Wendy Williams chooses to go online and show her dementia. Why is she doing that? Paul Mooney didn't do that. Richard Pryor didn't do that. He had to do that too.
Bane, give me a minute.
Williams,
Bane, give me a minute.
online showing her
Please
shit.
give me a minute. Please give me a minute. I'm sorry. It's just I'm crying right now. I'm crying right now because when I mentioned that, I just remembered. I remember the death of a friend of mine's grandmother because she died from complications from Alzheimer's. So this hits pretty close to home in a sense. I'm just like,
I'm sorry to hear that.
You know,
I'm sorry.
No, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just sometimes we can't help but start remembering people.
Yeah.
And Charles, I apologize. I don't mean to cry like this. Shit.
It's serious. Yeah.
I mean, I'm dealing with a few losses in my life, my personal life, and just glad that.
I apologize. The men cry.
Yeah,
No,
why
it's
you
just
important.
sick?
Just make sure it's important.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Sick,
I know.
you
I'm
ain't got
sorry.
no reason, sick. You ain't got no reason to apologize, man.
I know.
Boss
It's just
strikes
yeah,
and
but
hits
I still
everybody.
got. I know. It's just it's just that shame and guilt I still have to deal with sometimes.
Oh yeah, I know.
Doing this.
Look, sick. Take it from a fellow who's still dealing with it in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Thank
it.
you.
I know it,
Thank
man.
you.
I tell everybody that I see. I tell every man that I see, and I tell everybody on this panel, I'm here for you, and I'm here with you. Period.
Thank you.
Who is this, Snowman?
The one and only.
Okay. Hey, man, I got type 2 diabetes, just like you. How are you dealing with it?
A lot of insulin, a lot of water, changing my diet around.
And your diet?
Working with a resistance band now to get my weight down.
Okay.
You know what? This is what I found out with type 2 and me beating cancer and then losing my toe to amputation. 90% of this shit is mental.
You can, okay.
90% of this is mental. It's just And it's so true. I know Charles has said this to his students and his athletes and the folks in his command.
Mhm.
It's not the situation, but it's how you respond to it.
Okay.
30% of it is the situation. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
But 70% of this is how you respond to it. That's
Snowman,
why.
thank you. I needed that, by the way.
Oh, you're
'Cause,
welcome,
like,
man.
you know,
You're not.
Snowman, my
Yes.
my toes are throbbing. I need to do
Oh,
something.
Neuropathy.
yeah, you gotta get that checked out. You gotta get that checked out. Neuropathy.
Get it checked. Get it
No,
checked
I know
out.
I have. No, I'm on metformin. I take metformin.
You
That's
know what?
probably what's taking my ass.
I would investigate the metformin.
Why?
Here's let me tell you why. When
Go ahead.
I first started taking metformin, I thought it would be good for me.
Yeah.
And my wife brought up a very valid question. Where are the studies where metformin works for black men?
Ooh.
But why would it work for other men and not us? We're human.
Have they tested it on us?
Genetics.
The reason why is because black men are susceptible to certain things.
Yep.
Like most black
Mhm.
people are lactose intolerant, about 80%.
Mm-hmm.
Most black people
Yeah.
can't eat starches like that.
And here's
If
what
the
I
people
found.
could.
And here's what I found
There's
with
biological
metformin.
reasons.
Here's what I found with metformin, because I took it for like a year and a half, and it was the first year and a half after I met Jody.
That shit make
Yeah.
you get the moves like a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you get to what?
It does what?
You're in the bathroom.
Run.
You're in the
Taking a
bathroom.
piss.
Diarrhea. Diarrhea.
You're in the bathroom a
Oh
lot.
no, I don't shit like that. I take a piss. I piss a lot. Yeah.
That's
I'm
not
just-
gonna make you shit like a brick. Like it make you,
And-
it make
and
you
Here's the other.
like,
Here's the other thing about metformin. It's
Yeah.
supposed to help you lose weight.
But
It
you
does
gain
the
it.
opposite.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
It does the opposite. So
Yeah.
it's not for
Anyway,
black men.
yeah.
That's not good, and for black men, that's not good. I mean, we're already labeled as having weight
Yeah.
problems anyway, even though 70% of black men are in shape. But
Yeah.
and the argument is, and I'll give you all a guess as to where this argument came from.
Yeah.
A lot of men, doesn't matter what shape they in, wind up getting diabetes anyway. I'll give you a guess as to the quote unquote endangered group who came up with that argument.
Who?
Go ahead.
Let me give you the black women came up with it. Because they've literally said that to me.
And you'd be surprised the number of black women who have it, who are plagued by
and don't
not
want
just type 2 diabetes. Because I'm sorry to interrupt, Charlie. Hear me out. But hear me out when I say this. Patrice O'Neal, from his early 20s until his death, was battling not just type 2 diabetes, but he also, to further complicate things, he had high blood pressure / high hypertension. So he was a ticking time bomb. You understand? You have that. That's a lethal combination right there. So he didn't start taking care of himself. He didn't understand. This man was between 6'4", 6'5", and at his most he weighed anywhere between 325 to 400 pounds.
He was overweight. Yeah, he's overweight.
Oh, yeah, boss. Yeah. So you understood, and what took him out eventually was a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
Because he realized he couldn't feel his legs. He called his girl, and they immediately had to rush him to the hospital. Immediately, he
was gone.
They put him on ICU, and about a week or so later, they had to take him off, and he was by order of his family just to.
He succumbed. Yeah.
He succumbed.
Yeah, I like Patrice, man. I like Patrice. He went too soon. He was way too
he had to go. No. Let me tell you something, babe. I remember if you watch Elephant in the Room, if you his comedy special Elephant in the Room in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard, but I never saw it. I know what you're talking about, though. Go ahead.
But understand. But in that album, he was talking about turning 40, And you could see it in his eyes and the way he was talking to the crowd. He was tired of living. He knew he was not long
Yeah.
for this world.
He was exhausted.
He was exhausted. In fact, at the roast of Charlie Sheen, he had a moment with, not only that, at the roast with Charlie Sheen, William Shatner talked about him and Patrice had a conversation backstage about their battles with type 2 diabetes, and they had a moment, and Shatner said, I could see it in his eyes. He was ready to go. He did not. He was tired of this life.
Okay,
He was
why
tired.
does Shatner? No offense against Captain Kirk. That's my man.
Mhm.
Why does Shatner have type 2 diabetes and lives into his 90s because he's 90-something years old, and Patrice goes out at 45, 46? How does that work?
41. He died at
Oh,
41.
are you serious?
He's 41.
He was
He was that
41.
young?
November 69. He was born in November 69.
Negro, I'm 50.
Just days before his 42nd birthday, he succumbed.
Because some people
Wow.
will find out they have it and
You
take it serious.
Mm-hmm.
Other people
Yeah.
will find out they have it and just say screw it.
I mean,
And it could be, and this is only a theory. It could be that he dealt with so many health problems before he found out, and then realized what work he had to put in to battle it and defeat it. And mentally, like I said earlier, mentally you just get tired.
Yeah, and Patrice,
I remember one time I was in
he
a
tackled it when
supermarket.
it was too late.
I
He didn't
asked.
start taking it seriously until his 30s.
I saw a guy in a supermarket one time. One of his legs were purple.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
That motherfucker it was a white guy, and his right leg was purple from the knee down.
Mm-hmm.
Gangrene. That's gangrene. Yeah.
And he had a cart full of pudding.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just saying to myself, I said, that's a guy that just said, fuck it. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die happy.
He was done.
Right.
He was done.
No, I know that's tragic, but that's funny.
Here's the thing I should mention here also. Right. Here's the thing I need to mention as well. And this goes to those of us with mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm glad I had my experiences being on medication. The ones I'm talking about is SSRIs and antipsychotics.
Yeah.
So, do you know that one of the side effects?
Wait, real quick, name out. Are you
Yes.
suicidal? Suicidal tendencies?
I do experience suicidal tendencies, but I also have homicidal tendencies. And
so
trust
come on, man. Slow down with that.
I know. I am so afraid. I'm always afraid I'm going to hurt somebody. That's one of the things why I self-isolate sometimes. But anyway.
You're out of the country?
Thankfully, I live in a different country, so that's what keeps me sane. But, I ain't gonna lie. When COVID hit and we had the shutdowns and everything, I was at ease.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, as I said, for people for people taking antidepressants, antipsychotics, and stuff like that, one of the side effects is weight gain. Now, thankfully for me, I only had to work. I was only on and off for 2 years. But the people who use for mental health issues, who take antidepressants and such,
antidepressants
is antidepressants, SSRIs, or even antipsychotics.
Yeah.
One side effect is weight gain.
Yes.
And after long-term use of that, and if you don't know how to deal with the weight gain or counter the weight gain, it will increase your chances of high blood pressure, hypertension, and raise your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. That's the one thing that clinicians do not forget to talk to their patients about, especially if
are you a big guy, Nema? Are you a big guy?
I'm 6'3", about 180, 185.
Oh, no, you're not overweight. Not at all. You're 6'3"?
I'm lanky. No, I was at one point. I was like, I was pushing 190, but the thing is, I'm a lanky dude. I'm naturally skinny because I'm a different. My Because first of
East
all, I'm not ADOS. I'm not ADOS. I'm East African.
He's East African, so they tend to be
And
taller and leaner.
Yes.
Eritrean, is that how you say it?
Yes, yes, I'm Eritrean. And I can
Yeah.
tell you right now, from my father's generation, who are, you know, a lot of them, especially those who are veterans from our independence war, a
Yeah.
lot of them got hit with in their 40s. A lot of them were later diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and a lot of that
Yeah.
had to do with lifestyle, and some of them had like family histories of that stuff. I knew there was somebody, and there's someone from my family's own inner circle who had a history of diabetes and high blood pressure, and
Mhm.
may they
Yeah.
rest in peace. So I have an uncle who's like a second father to me, who's been living with type 2 diabetes, and it's because of him I've been well aware to be aware of that stuff, especially because he was trying to get us to be healthy. Thankfully for me, what kept me safe, but it's a double-edged sword, is the fact that I have celiac disease and lactose intolerance. So because of celiac disease, I cannot consume certain grains. I had to change my diet, and when I got to where I'm at, I had to change my
Yeah.
diet. So I'm like gluten-free, meat-free. I'm a polypescatarian. I eat fish and chicken and whatnot, but I don't eat meat and a lot of so no pork, no dairy, no gluten, and
Mhm.
that's what's been able to keep me, healthy. Although they say people with celiac disease are at a greater risk of developing type 2 diabetes if they're not careful. So
Okay.
I'm a lot careful with what I eat
I developed
and what
it.
I do consume.
I developed pretty early. I contracted type 2 diabetes at the age of I'm 52. I got it at 36.
Do you have a
You
family
know,
history?
I was early. I was what you call early onset.
Yeah,
Okay. Do you have a family
that
history,
happened to
first
me.
of all? Do you have a family history? Because a lot of people don't know. There's there is like a family history. Like there's a genetic component to certain people developing that stuff. Same thing with type 1. I mean, there's a there's
You gotta be
somebody
born with
there's
that.
a huh?
You gotta be born with that though.
Yeah, you could be at a higher risk because some people, if they have a family history of diabetes, something like that, they're at a higher risk of developing. Sometimes like it skips a generation or something like that.
It's
Type
hard to
1, type
diminish.
1.5.
It's hard to diminish type 1. You can diminish type 2 if you work on it. You can.
Yeah, type 1, it's your liver doesn't function, your pancreas
I've
doesn't
read
function.
stuff. The doctors have talked to me. They say, "Hey, Mr. Woodall, you can." I'm saying my real last name. So what? I don't care, Mr. Woodall. You can. It can diminish, but you have to watch yourself. If you have been born with
Mm.
type 1, you will be fucked up the rest of your life. Type 2 can diminish if you work on it. They're right about that. Type
Yeah,
1,
there's
you're
a
pretty much fucked. You're pretty much
Ray
fucked.
Allen. He's a big advocate for people with type 1 because remember, it was during when he was in Boston during their championship run. His
Yeah.
son, who was 2 years old, had to be hospitalized, and they rediscovered he had type 1 diabetes. So he's been a big advocate for type 1 diabetes.
Yeah. Does he
Type
have it?
2,
Ray Allen have it too?
no, Ray Allen. No, Ray Allen doesn't have it, but they're trying to. But I think it might have been his family, for type 1
In his
diabetes,
family
or
somewhere?
his wife's
Yeah.
family, or
Okay.
his wife. Hey, here's another person we should talk about regarding family history and diseases. The late Arthur Ashe.
Yeah.
He didn't have diabetes. It wasn't diabetes. It was hypertension, high blood pressure. Because at 36, he suffered a heart attack. How was that possible when he was in the best condition? Because he was genetically predisposed. He inherited from his mother and father's side hypertension, high blood pressure. Because remember,
Okay.
among not just African Americans, but Afro Latinos, Afro Caribbeans, remember what they said about the whole theory about salt sensitivity?
Mm-hmm.
Those who could retain salt were more likely to survive the Middle Passage from Africa to the New World on the slave ships and whatnot.
Yeah.
On very little food. That's a double-edged sword. So they're thinking that has a connection to. So that's the sensitivity theory might be connected to high blood pressure and hypertension and whatnot.
Yeah. That's just more proof. We're not supposed to be eating this shit, man. All the processed foods. I eat the processed food sometimes. We're not supposed to eat that.
When you're in survival, let me tell you something. When you're in survival mode, Wolf, that's about all you can A, eat, or B, afford, or C, both.
Yep. Yeah.
because that's what Jody and I have been talking about. Oh my gosh, for the length of time we've been together, is
Yeah.
getting off the processed food. But she made me realize when you're in survival
Hard.
mode,
Hard.
it is, man. It is. It's very
Wow.
hard to get off the processed food because it's readily
So
available.
cheap.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's readily available. It's cheap, and it's a fallback.
Indeed.
It's a fallback, and it's a horrible fallback. But I'll say it again: when you've been in survival mode for so long,
Yeah.
you desperately want to make the change. That's part of that. That's half the battle. Wanting to make the change. Now, going about it is going to require some money, and it's going to require a lot more discipline. When you
And
are
support.
stressed and support,
You need a support network here.
You do.
Because, you know, it's just like with people who are recovering from addictions.
mm-hmm.
They need somebody who's there to
And-
to keep them in
And
check.
there's
And
a
hold
big
them
one.
to
There's a
accountable.
big one I'm trying. There's a big one I'm trying to defeat called caffeine.
You know what?
Oh,
You know what, brother? You're gonna take that caffeine. You're gonna slam it. You're gonna put the
I'm about to stone cold stun that bitch, especially with my sleep patterns getting better, even with me taking Sonya to and from work at night.
You know what kept me? You know what had me give up coffee and tea?
What's that?
Because, you know, well, I don't know. I took some coffee like about a few months ago because I was hoping to like help me with my constipation. That didn't work.
Yeah.
Made it worse. Sometimes it doesn't work as a diuretic.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it fucked up but my urine came out pretty strong. Oof. But anyway, what made me give up caffeine? This is soda,
Mm-hmm.
coffee, even tea. I had to give up all that because
Yeah.
I realized caffeine does something with my anxiety. So I gave up completely. I had to give that up.
And you know what, Sick? I just realized that today. I just realized that today. I've been realizing it all week, but I think that's the final piece of the puzzle that I needed to make me go cold turkey from it.
Yeah.
Because
By the way,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Snowman, but understand I'm a little scared right now because since the last couple of days, I've noticed, because I suffer from seasonal depression.
One more time.
I suffer from seasonal depression.
No.
No, I don't go through that either. No, I don't deal with seasonal depression. I know what you're talking about. I don't go through that.
So do I.
Yeah,
when the spring and the summer comes, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, summertime I experience that like twice, like once in the beginning is, it's like happens to me twice a year. Once when we're entering spring, then when we go from spring to summer, then when we transition to winter. Because I've been having that for the past 2 days. Because I've been going with that that's why I'm like, I'm sorry to spring this on you. I apologize for springing this on you, but I'm just letting you know. Sometimes I just.
Oh, it's okay.
We
talk, man. Look,
man,
folks in this space.
Are you still in Oslo?
One more time.
Are you still in Oslo?
I'm in Norway, but I'm not in Oslo.
Oh, okay. All right. Do they have a summer?
They're going into. We're transitioning into summer now. Because in fact, we're in May, so we're like it's still spring, but we're transitioning to summer really quickly. In fact, the days are getting long, the nights are getting shorter.
Yeah, same here.
Is it summer? Do y'all have 85-degree days?
No.
Here's the thing.
He's in the northern hemisphere like us. It's the same season for like us.
Yeah. The thing is for me, the thing is like the temperatures are pretty mild. But because the days are so long, it feels like a slow broil, especially at the height of summer.
Right.
So you got to stay cool, and you got to stay cool and dry. You don't want to get too sweaty or whatnot. I'm used to the heat because I grew up in the Middle East, but it's just I don't know, for some reason it's just
I do have an unrelated question.
Okay.
Again, directed towards Neymar. Hey.
Okay.
I lived in the Seattle, Washington area for 2.5 years when I was in my 20s.
All right.
The Seattle, Washington area.
Okay, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. Okay, my man. I've noticed they have. It's not a huge, but they do have a small Ethiopian community and a small Eritrean community.
You also have
And
a
they
small
did
Somali community there as well.
Wait, hold on. They
I'm sorry,
got down with us. They were okay with ADOS. Both groups were okay with ADOS, but they didn't get along with each other. What was that about?
You're talking about 800 years of inter-ethnic and intercultural rivalries that goes back to the first of all, the ethnicities that you probably interacted with who were Ethiopian. Were they Amharas by any chance? Were they Amharic speakers?
Wait, say it again.
The Ethiopians in particular, because Ethiopia is a large country. We're talking about a country about
the Ethiopian community. The Ethiopian communities are a bit more pronounced. Eritreans were in the background. Yeah. I will admit that. Ethiopians were a lot louder. They were.
Yeah.
But they didn't get along. But they were okay with ADOS. What that? I'm asking you, what was that about?
It goes back to the fact that we were once part of it. We have a common ancestor called the Axumites, ruled in the first millennia. But then after the fall of the kingdom, the divergence, and we branched out into different ethnicities.
Yeah.
And in the 13th century, the Abyssinian Empire. By the way, Ethiopia's original name was Abyssinia or Habasha. They established their empire in 1270. That's when they established the empire. Okay. In what is in the Amhara region, to be exact. However, in Eritrea, they established the ethnicity there called the Tigrinya. That's my tribe. We established our own kingdom about a century or so later, called Midre Bahri, which means land by the sea. And the Abyssinians have always wanted to conquer Eritrea because they wanted access to the sea, but we refused to be conquered because I say, hey, we might be related, but we're not going to allow you to subjugate us. And of course, eventually, after World War II, Eritrea became part of Ethiopia, and then we had to fight a war between 61 and 91 for our independence. And this isn't. You said when you met them, like what? We're talking the early 80s. Is that where you were in Seattle?
No. I was in Seattle early 2000s. They did not get along. They did not get along.
Yes, there's another. That's another conflict between 98 and 2000. We had a border war. We had a border conflict at that time. That ended in 2000, and it was there was ethnic animosity as well because most of the border, because the western half of the border between Eritrea and Ethiopia is a river called the Meta River, which flows into Sudan and connects with the Blue Nile.
Okay.
And the northernmost part of Ethiopia, they speak Tigrinya, just like the people in Eritrea speak Tigrinya. But there is a separate ethnicity called Tigrayans who are related. Tigrayans and Tigrayans, we have our animosity to each other. It's kind of like I'm not sure.
Why is it lasting so long? Shouldn't y'all get over it?
Right? It's like you look at all of Africa, my dude. You got tribes who still have inter-ethnic rivalries going back centuries. Just like if you look at Europe, you got tribes.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. But this is Seattle, Washington. They was bumping heads.
Happens everywhere.
I'll tell you. I grew up in the Middle East. We did not. If we saw each other, we were cordial, and we left each other alone because we knew not to be disrespectful, especially if you're in another country. But stateside, I'm pretty sure it must have been like the youths and mostly who got at it because the old grown folks, they knew not to scrap. They knew better than to scrap. Yeah. But to bump heads like that, I'm sure because the animosity was intense because the we looked at the border conflict like the second independence war, kind of like how you guys saw the war of 1812 after the Revolutionary War.
I'm familiar.
And some of those animosities had to be healed. They didn't come to they weren't sorted out until like 2018 when there was finally peace between the two countries. However, in the past few years, you know, it's been a lot of complications, and you know, war. Ethiopia's had a civil war, and of course, in Sudan there's been war, in Somalia there's war. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot of complicated history. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot.
Unrelated.
It's also a lot of it is geopolitics as well.
Yeah. Unrelated.
Okay.
Some Eritrean chicks chose more than Ethiopian chicks. I noticed that. They chose Ados men.
Mm-hmm.
They chose. Like I'll take you. The Ethiopian chicks gave resistance. They were really, I'm not calling them hoes. That's not what I'm saying. They wasn't on that. They was not. They was not on that. They were a lot easier to talk to. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. I'm serious, Neymar. I'm like, what the fuck what's going on? I was out of my element. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I was out of my element. I didn't know.
There are Eritreans Ethiopians in Chicago, but I hear you say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm like, whoa. These chicks are like, prove yourself, like Black American women. That's how the Ethiopians work.
Hey, Wolf. Hey, Wolf. I'm from Chicago. I totally understand that.
Are you really?
What part of Chicago you from?
I'm a Southsider born and... Hey, Wolf. I'm a Southsider born and bred, my brother.
What part of the South Side?
111th and Peoria.
Oh, that's far south.
Half a mile, if not more, away from Morgan Park High School.
Okay, my sister went there. Okay, my man, Snowman, I'm gonna subscribe to you. You got a channel, right? You got a channel, right?
Yes, I do.
I'm gonna subscribe just because you said that.
I'm a Southsider too.
I didn't know that. Wow, so you from the South Side and you got type 2 diabetes, my man.
And I'm kicking its ass, and I kick cancer's ass.
Dane, I gotta tell you something. Dane, you saying my man so much, you remind me of my cousin. Because every time I holler at him, we're like, my man, where you been? Because, you know, we old souls like that.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Chicago, that's Chicago, man. That's Chicago. Hey, you my man, you my man. You're not.
You know
that's how we do. We don't play no games.
Let's put it that way.
This is what I plan
41,
to do.
I'm your baby brother.
Later this summer, this is what I plan to do. I plan to take my wife to Chicago and spoiler rotten with one of the things Chicago is known for. Food.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, careful.
Chicago is known for its food, and it's a great sports town. You're a sports guy, so you know that. You know that.
I know it very well. I've seen Game 2 of the NBA Finals in '91 and Game 3 of Game 4 of the '93 Finals in person at the Old Barn. I've seen the Blackhawks clinch a Stanley Cup at the United Center. But the best one for me... The best one for me, I was there. I was in the stadium.
Okay.
But the best one for me was seeing Scott Podsednik walk off the Astros in 2005 in Game 2.
Okay.
He's a White Sox fan. Oh, by the way, Bane, to answer your question.
Yeah.
First of all, you got to know, when it came to the Ethiopian chicks, you have to know which ethnicity they're from. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, what does that mean?
Do you have any idea? Which ethnic group did they belong to? What tribe were they from?
I'm not familiar.
Like I said.
I'm not familiar, so please explain.
So first of all, but you got to explain to me, the Ethiopian chicks you came across to, what was the language they often spoke in? Was it Amharic?
And thank you, Mackenzie, for the $2 holla. Oh,
was it Amharic? Yeah, was it like Amharic or something like that? Was it Oromo? Garage?
Bruh, I don't know. I'm not that into it. I don't know. Now, however, I did notice there were a couple of different tones. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, certain tones of voice, the way they talk and everything.
Tones, a couple of different wording. I did notice that. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But
you know what's the difference between Ethiopians and Eritreans?
The Ethiopian people got along with each other. When they met somebody Eritrean, I saw scowls. Not all the time. No, not all the time. I'm not trying to pit one group
Oh,
against
that's
each
okay.
other. Trying to do. That's not what I'm trying to do. Okay?
No, I
But
understand. I
I
understand.
did notice there were two different dialogues. That's the word I'm looking for. I did notice two
Ah,
different dialogues between Ethiopian people. With Eritrean, it was pretty much the same tone, and the women were easier to talk to. Okay, I dated
mm-hmm.
a couple of them. They all look like Iman. You know what Iman is, right?
Yeah, Imam. Yeah, however, Imam was Somali, but I know what you're saying. I
They
know what
all
you're
look like
saying. God
Iman.
damn it.
I'm like, oh shit. Man, I was infatuated. I ain't gonna lie, man. Y'all got some beautiful women. Y'all do. You really do. I'm like,
Oh,
damn.
I got to show you something. Let me change my avatar.
Go ahead. Do you think?
You see my avatar?
Go for it, man.
You see my avatar, Bane?
I see it.
Wait. Where you at?
I'm the one in the center, in the middle.
Okay. What about it?
Okay, that is those are from the boomer generation. This is taken from the 1980s. The person on the left is a woman. The person on the right is a man. Now, those two people in particular, they come from the lowland parts of Eritrea, because Eritrea has highlands as well as lowlands.
Okay.
And these people in particular, you see, if you look on their shoulders, they have Kalashnikovs because they're veterans during the independence war from the 70s and 80s. Men and women fought alongside each other. That's how badass some of my aunts are, because I got uncles and aunts who are veterans from that war. And
Which makes you a badass just because of it.
hell, I remember posting up. I changed my avatar to one picture. It was of my generation because we have national service. But the difference between Eritreans and Ethiopians is this: we were colonized by the Italians, just like the southern half of Somalia was. Ethiopia was never colonized.
Wait.
So,
Whoa. I thought them off. Oh, that was Ethiopia. I thought they fought them off.
Come again?
I thought maybe I'm thinking about Ethiopia. I heard what's the name? Idi Amin. I understand he was Ethiopian, but they fought them off. Are you saying Eritreans didn't fight the Italians off?
We did fight the Italians off initially, but the thing was given our realizing, because you're a smaller nation with larger neighbors who want to conquer you, you have to do what you need to do to survive. I'll give you a prime example. About, if you remember the story of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was known as Alexander the Fourth of Macedonia. His grandfather was Alexander the Third. And this was during, I think this is just before the battle. This is when the Persians invaded for the Battle of Thermopylae.
Thermopylae, yeah.
Just prior to it. Yeah. Alexander the Third, when the Persians came and asked him to capitulate, he did out of survival because he knew it was a smart thing to do. 2 generations later, his grandson would go to conquer the Persians. Sometimes you have to capitulate out of survival, because if you know you cannot fight, you will have to defend yourself one way or another. You have to preserve and survive. Sometimes it's better to, and realizing that your choice was either to be colonized by the Italians or have to fight or have to be colonized by the Ethiopians, and you understand what the pros and cons were, they had to make the tough decisions.
So wait. Why not be half colonized by Ethiopia instead of Italy?
It would not have worked because we knew, first of all, the ruling tribe in Ethiopia are the people called the Amharas, and their language is Amharic. The dominant ethnicity in Eritrea and the people who are related to them, called the Tigrinya. That's my tribe. We understood how dangerous. We just understood how ambitious these people could be, and in times of war, we understand how vicious one another can be. But in the long term, we realized what was the best objective to do, what was the best short course of action, because we have to think long term. You know what I'm saying? Because if you understand your long term survival, sometimes you have to think several generations ahead. That doesn't mean we're cowards,
Right.
but we knew what was the right thing to do. Sometimes you have to make those tough decisions.
And think long term.
Yes, because we say, okay, we
long
will
term.
be under their rule, but eventually we will regain our independence. We just need to prepare. So let us learn from these white people what we can to improve ourselves and become better. Because, and let's not forget, these countries were still under a feudalistic society. And so capitulating to the Italians cut them a safer deal. Otherwise, they could have been wiped out because they had no idea how cruel these people could be. But they knew the cruelty that they would face at the hands of Ethiopian subjugation, especially under Amharas.
Yeah.
So we
And
understood.
Let's
I
ask.
mean,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. Finish up.
So understanding we were between a rock and a hard place, we had to make the choice. And this is back in the 1880s, man. This is the late 1880s we're talking about. And the choices were not made and the choices 1880s. Almost a century before this picture here.
Yeah.
Over a century, around a century before this picture was taken, we became an Italian colony. And we understood the cruelty of the Italians, especially under fascism, but that is the price you have to pay. And you knew, but you kept the dream alive to become a free nation, and it finally came. May 24th, 1991. We gained our freedom. 2 years later, on that very day, we became an official state.
It took till 91? Really?
Yeah.
Between 1961 to 1991, we had an independence war from Ethiopian rule. Then 2 years later, we had a referendum. And this referendum was held not just inside Ethiopia, but also for the diaspora communities all over the world. 99.9% overwhelmingly vote for independence. That May of 93, we became an official state.
Okay.
I had to, and then when I was and I can tell you right now, up until that point, all I had was an Ethiopian passport because I was living overseas. I didn't get my first passport as an Eritrean until 1995. That was like one of the most important days in my life. But then again,
yeah,
I will tell you, you know what true freedom is?
What's that?
For me, when I think of freedom, I think of one of the founding fathers of Eritrean independence. His name was Wilda Wildemariam. May he rest in peace. He was a man who was fighting for Eritrean independence in the 1950s through political means. When independence came in 91, he decided to come home. Now, he was forced into exile in the 1950s, but he came back nearly four decades later. A man in his 80s. And you know what was the first thing he did when he got off the plane? And when he came home to a hero's welcome. The first thing he did when he got off the plane, he was on the tarmac, 80-something years old, tears in his eyes. He got on the ground and he was kissing it and thanking God.
What year was
He
this?
thanked. This was 1991, 92.
Okay.
He decided to come home. Yeah. In his mid to late 80s. He is on his knees, kissing the ground he thought he would never see again, knowing he finally came home to a free country. And I'm getting choked up just thinking about that because that man lived and died because so many of his comrades from his heyday did not live to see this day. Very few of them lived to see that day. And when they finally saw that day, they had tears in their eyes because they knew their country was free. And the best day of his life was in 1995 when he passed away at the age of 90, knowing he died to see his country a free nation. We lost a father that day. We lost a father that day, but we have a legacy to carry on. But in my heart, I know that legacy has somehow been betrayed in a sense. But go ahead. Sir, huh?
Because we don't, black folks don't celebrate death, we celebrate life.
We mourned his loss, but we didn't. But you know, when an old man dies, we don't mourn him the way we mourn a young man's loss. Because when an old man dies, we accept it a lot easier. We accept it a lot easier because it was his time to go. And oftentimes, when the elderly know it's their time to go, that is when they have to give the final lesson to their children, how to embrace death without fear.
And my bad. Wait, hold on. Let me correct myself. About 10 minutes ago, I said Idi Amin. No, he was someplace else. I meant how
Idi Amin was Uganda.
Yeah, that was Uganda. Brother, I apologize to you. I meant Haile Selassie.
Haile Selassie.
Africa is so big. I try to study it, and I get confused. I meant Haile Selassie.
Okay.
What I meant.
Okay. By the way,
he fought off the Italians.
He's Ethiopian. He was an ethnic Amhara of Shimshoa. He was the last emperor of Ethiopia. He died in 1975, by the way. He was deposed. He died in 75, but Haile Selassie the First.
Okay.
The last emperor of Ethiopia. He was deposed on September 12, 1974, by a military coup. He would die the following year. As he was in his old age, he was like pushing 90 at that time.
Yeah. A lot of you guys live to be in your 90s. That's impressive. No, I'm not disrespecting you. That's impressive. Because you know the average life of a black man in America is 60. And we gone.
My grandfather, who passed away about 3 decades ago, he lived to be 70. I mean, I got a grandmother who passed away last year. She lived to see 95. So it's not that easy. It's not that easy, but you know, living that long, but it's not about the length of your life, but the quality of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's some people, you know, who've been living with ailments and diseases for so long, it takes a toll on their bodies, and it's like a slow, painful death. And others, they live a healthy life, but they die in their sleep peacefully.
Like me and Snowman, goddamn type 2 diabetes. I shouldn't have that shit.
I got an uncle who's pushing 70 and he's got it, man. So I know I gotta.
And we're susceptible to that shit. Like what the hell? I shouldn't have contracted type 2 diabetes at 36. That's too young. Come on now. It's the food.
I mean, I've had a couple scares myself. You know that?
Yeah.
I thought I was pre-diabetic. I remember I was like 37, 38 at the time. No, 36. Sorry, 36.
Yeah.
And you know, I was 36. I was kind of like, you know, fucking around because, you know, I like to bake brownies and everything, but I gotta be careful with the recipes I use because, you know, gluten-free and everything. But, you know, so one time I was in the bathroom. Yeah. Anyway, so one time I was in the bathroom, and you know that urine smelled sweet. I said, "Oh shit!" Immediately, the next day I called to make an appointment with my doctor. Later that week was the following week. I went to see him. I told him my situation, everything. We did a blood work. He told me I got the results of blood work. He said, your blood sugar levels are fine. Only thing is you got a low iron deficiency. You got low iron, so you got to work that out. But you know that was a wake up. That was like a wake up call, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm careful when I consume certain things. No, I mean, but yeah. I mean, one thing I'll tell you right now. I'm thankful for one thing. One thing I'm very thankful is my life And my father, may he rest in peace, he told me this. He told me this plenty of times because he looked at me and said, "You know what I'm proud of with you?" I said, "What?" Unlike a lot of people, you're just like your great grandfather. You don't smoke and you don't drink. And I can tell you, I've seen too many friends get fucked around by alcohol, so I know not to fuck with it. Go say, sir, go ahead.
Shit. That's to my detriment, Neymar. That's to my detriment. I do. I'm smoking Newports right now. God damn it.
Hey, I lost my father was a chain smoker from his early 20s until he died last year. No, actually, my dad. No, hang on. My father, just before he just around the time he was about to turn 65, he suffered a stroke.
Yeah.
He was hit with a stroke, and then for the next 5-6 years, he was like, going through rehab and everything.
Yeah.
Until it was his time to pass. But thankfully, within that time, he didn't smoke, he didn't fuck with alcohol, none of that shit. But eventually, he passed on. And
how old was he?
Oh, he was about a few weeks away from turning 71 actually when he passed. This was last year.
Okay.
So this is gonna be my first Father's Day without him.
He had a full life. 71 is kind of early, but he had a full life. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a full life. He
got grandkids and shit, right?
No grandkids.
Oh, what you mean no?
No,
you said your grandfather, correct?
No, my father.
Your father. Oh.
Yeah, my father. I lost my father last year.
Oh, so you and your siblings don't have children?
No, we don't have children.
Oh, okay. It's okay. I don't have children either. It's okay. It's all right. I'm 52, right? Kid. I get it.
Hey, kids is not for everybody, but
Okay. It's okay. It's fine. I ain't got kids neither.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get there. I don't care if I'm 60. I'll create a legacy. I will.
Shit, Picasso had kids in the 70s. What are you talking about?
Charles straight. He got a son. He gonna have some kids. He gonna have some grandkids. Yeah, like get your ass out of my living room. Yeah.
No, Charles is gonna turn into his grandfather when he has grandkids of his own. He's gonna start having that North Carolina drawl and everything. But hey, boy, how you doing, son? How you doing?
I heard a little bit of his eulogy for his grandfather. I heard a little bit of it.
Yeah. Granddaddy Roosevelt.
I heard a little bit of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I heard a little bit. I listen to Charles more than he thinks. I don't always chime in. I listen to him. I listen to all you brothers. I'm all up in the Black Manosphere, man. I'm all up in there.
Much respect to that.
I don't regular very many shows except for my man Roger. Because Roger is lethal. Man, that motherfucker is lethal. I'm like, damn, how can you say that?
He's an asshole. He doesn't give a fuck. That's why.
Yeah. You got ruthless nice guy. He's a ruthless nice guy. He's exactly what he says he is.
I own up to the fact. Hey, I own up to the fact that I'm a dick because I got a 3rd-degree black belt. No. Let me tell you something. I'm a dick. Okay. I own up to being a dick. At least I'm a dick. At least this dick has the decency to wear a condom and use some lube when he fucks with you. Okay. So with that being said.
No, I get it.
So with that being, yeah.
I get it.
So with that being said, I naturally piss off people. There are people who ain't gonna vibe with me. I naturally just piss them off.
Yeah.
And it is what the fuck it is. Some people ain't gonna vibe with what I'm saying.
Man, I'm a Taurus. I'm a Taurus. You can't tell me nothing. I just had a birthday, May 8th.
Wait, you're a Taurus?
I'm a Taurus. May 8th.
Shit, I'm a Virgo. I'm a Virgo. We get along. We get along.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to, man. I argue so much, it's ridiculous.
Wait a minute. You're a Taurus and you're from Chicago. We
Yeah.
should start calling you Benny the Bull, like the mascot for the Bulls.
Oh no, that's Chicago. No, the Wolfbane is fine, goddamn. Let me call him.
Yeah, I just fuck. I just fuck with that's fun. Yeah, but you a Taurus, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Bro, I love talking to you. Where everybody else go? Where's the angry black man? Where's Charles?
Angry black man. No, angry black man. I think he's got his hands full something. But
I'm
Charles is
still
still here.
here, but I'm about to shut it down. Got to get ready for work. So I'm gonna hit
All
you
right,
guys
Charlie.
a little bit later. I'll probably see you on Art New Styles if he has one tonight.
Mm-hmm. Wait, doesn't he have one later? Tonight?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow? Okay. Oh, right. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
But those
Hey,
of you who missed it,
Wolfbane, you gonna be can we say maybe we could just still chop it off offline. You still gonna be around? Or you gotta be going somewhere?
I didn't hear none of that. What'd you say?
When the
you're gonna
goes
stay on the
offline.
panel. You're gonna stay on the panel when it's offline.
Oh, you mean behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm good.
all right,
I'm here.
let's stay on the panel when it's offline. And for everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Say, Art and Style got something going on tonight?
Probably about 10-ish on Eastern Standard Time, 10-ish.
I'm Central though, so that's what 9.
Yeah, even though he's in Cali, so it's gonna be earlier for him. But it's around 10
he's 2
standard.
hours ahead. Oh shit! Damn. Okay. Yeah, it's
Well,
hard to catch.
Y'all can stay here. I'm just gonna shut it down.
All right.